อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภควาพุทธังภควันตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภควตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภควโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนะมามิ Okay, so welcome everyone to this afternoon Sutta study. Today we will continue learning, okay, as the new monk supposed to be learning according to the training schedule. Since you guys ordained 1 month already, and now you decided to continue your trainings for the second month, for the third month. Basically, we call this journey is a day-by-day journey. That means you are giving yourself an opportunity to learn deeper in the Dhamma, which is the teaching of the Buddha, along with the meditation practice. And that's something I like to congratulate everyone to make this decision for yourself. Ordination is something special, okay? It's not something that happening every day, and it's not something that you do every day, right? Maybe you ordain this, this is the first time your ordination, and maybe it's the last time, you don't know. And now you make decision to, you know what, let's explore deeper about monk's life, what benefit you can get out of this monkhood. So that's something I like to congratulate everyone and encourage everyone to move forward. So for this second half of your training, we will go deeper into the teaching of the Buddha. I will take you a tour to several sutras, give you some experience of how to study the authentic teaching that is kept in the Tripitaka. This is something that you keep in mind. Before the Buddha passed, he gave his advice or kind of order to Ananda, which is his personal attendant. He said, the doctrine and the disciplines I have set forth and laid out for you shall be your teacher after I am gone. And that's something mentioned by the Buddha himself. He did not select anybody to take his place. Instead, he gave an order to Ananda and the monks to follow his teaching and the discipline. Doctrine refers to the Dhamma, and the discipline is the Vinaya, is the rule and regulation for monks and for nuns to follow. So these two things together, doctrine and discipline, equal Buddhism. So we can say that both of these are two elements that make Buddhism. I think every monk should keep this picture in mind. When we ordain, we have two duties. First, study the teaching of the Buddha. Okay, know what the Buddha teach and understand the Vinaya. Dhamma come with 3 dimensions: getting to know the theory, put into practice, and realize the Dhamma by yourself. So that means you not only learn the theory part, you need to put everything into practice. At the same time, you must practice meditation so you can realize the Dhamma that you practice by yourself in a deeper dimension. At the same time, we maintain that our precept, make sure we keep the precept clean, understand the Vinaya, which is the rule laid down by the Buddha himself, what we can do, what we cannot do, what we should do, what we should not do, including all the manners. And this is the general idea of the teaching of the Buddha that kept in the Tripitaka or the Pali canon. We call Tripitaka, right? Tripitaka is 3 baskets. Tri or Ti mean 3. Pitaka mean basket, 3 basket, or the Pali canon. These are the 3 baskets that kept the teaching of the Buddha divided into 3 groups. The first group is called Vinaya, which is rule and regulation, manners, okay, all of the things that the monk should know, okay, when he ordained. Sometimes you may hear the word Patimokha. Another group of teaching kept in the basket called Sutta, Sutta Pitaka. And the last teaching, this is called an advanced or the higher doctrine of the Buddha, is called Abhidhamma. So altogether, it's about 84,000 discourses. In Thailand, we have 45 books or 45 chapters. The first 8 books is about Vinaya, okay, and another 25 books kept Sutta, which is the teaching of the Buddha, the story or the teaching that he gave to individual or the group of people back then, about 45 years, okay, of his teaching career. And then the Abhidhamma is another 12 books. Okay, this basket kept the advanced teaching of the Buddha. Only talk about the nature of the mind. There is no name mentioned. There is no places of where the Buddha go mentioned in this particular basket. All right. Now you ordain for 1 month. I think it's a good time for you, okay, to getting to know what kept in this basket, which is the teaching of the Buddha. So I will take you a tour to actually take a look of some particular sutra that I select today that help you to get started with. As we ordain, we should know what it means by being a good monk. What kind of thing that the Buddha would like us to follow and practice, then we can be consider ourselves as a good student who follow the teaching of the Buddha. Again, in this particular teaching that kept in the Sutta Pitaka, people talk about 21,000 teaching, which is many of them. So we don't know where to start, right? As a new monk, even though you want to learn, you still have a hard time try to figure out where should I start and what should I learn. There's so many teaching. Today and tomorrow, the sutra that we are going to learn together, I hope at the end of the lecture, I hope you understand the whole picture of how the good monk should be trained himself and what kind of thing that the Buddha would like the monk to understand and would like to follow step by step. Today, we are going to focus on actually two sutra. The first one is called Mahāssapura Sutta. Mahāssapura, okay. And then the second one, okay, Ganakamoggallana Sutta, which we did touch on this particular sutra before. And the last one, okay, this is something that I like to mention at the very end, maybe tomorrow, to combine these two sutra to one sutra to see how the Buddha trained the monks back then. So this is another one is called Rahula Sutra. Rahula, he was the son of Prince Siddhartha. He got himself ordained later on and he achieved arahantship. And this is how the Buddha teach his own son, okay, how to behave, how to practice correctly as a good monk. Okay, and it helped him to carry on his training and attain the enlightenment. If you study by yourself, it's going to be quite challenging because these two sutras are kept in the Majjhima Nikaya number 39 and Majjhima Nikaya number 107. It's not too long, but it's still considered long. And the language used in the Buddhist text is an old language which is translated from Pali to English. Even though it's translated to English, we can read, but it's not easy to understand what it said. So we need to somehow find a way to decode what the Buddha mean sentence by sentence. So today, we will get to that and try to understand, okay, the meaning behind the sentence. And what if you study by yourself, how would you interpret, how much you understand after you have gone through those kind of sentence that appear in the text by yourself. So here I believe with today and tomorrow lecture, you have a full understanding of how the Buddha trained the monk. What is the monk in his idea? And then you see this picture so you can apply to your own practice. Since you just ordained, once you understand all of these steps, so you can right away put them into practice, and then you are on your way to be a good monk. It helps you to understand the teaching of the Buddha much better. It also help you to meditate much better. Okay, and this is very important for the new monks to understand. So the essence of this sutta, Mahāssapura Sutta, 5 ways to answer this question, right? What make a good monk? Now you become a monk. What is the monks mean? And after you know what the monks mean, how can someone become a good monk? That's the question. If you guys come from non-Buddhist background, all of a sudden you are interested in becoming a monk, now you got yourself ordained. It's not done yet. Okay, ordination is just a process that help you to transform yourself from a man to be a monk legally according to the law, according to the Sangha rules. But nothing have changed yet. Nothing have changed yet. You're still wearing the same mind, wearing the same attitude. There's a lot of things that have not changed at all after you put on this saffron robe, right? So that's something you must pay attention. What make good monks? Okay, today we're gonna explore the answer to this question together. So the sutta start like this. That's like this. This is exactly as it appears on the text. So I will walk you through it and I'll stop by here and there. Okay, I'm not in a rush. Okay, I'm just want to make sure that you understand what we learned today and you kind of have some idea of how to study the sutra or the Buddhist text by yourself. Assapura. Usually the sutra name has to relate with something, either related to the place or related to the people. Okay, in this case, Assapura is the name of the district. The name of the district, which is located in the state of Angka, and the town or the district is called Assapura. This is where the Buddha gave this particular teaching to a group of monks. Buddha said, "Bhikkhu." Bhikkhu means monks, right? Again, all of this is English vocabulary. The original term, they don't call it monks, they usually call ascetic or samana. Samana means a calm person. Calm person. You may think of people calm, look nice, look peaceful and serene, right? But that's just an appearance. In this case, it has deeper meaning than that. Calm person means calm from defilement, calm from greed, calm from lust, calm from anger, and calm from delusion. Those defilement cannot harm him. That's why he look calm, physically, mentally, and spiritually calm. And that's the full meaning of the word samana. And later on, we use the word bhikkhu, we use the word monks. The Buddha said, bhikkhus, people call you ascetic. And when they ask you what you are, you claim to be an ascetic or samana. Given this label and this claim, you should train like this. We will undertake and follow the thing that make one an ascetic. What does it mean? Okay, so let's finish this paragraph and then I'll come back to explain in a moment. That way your label become true and our claim become correct. Any robes mean the robe that you wear, the food that you eat, the place that you stay, the medicine that you use when you get sick, and supplying we use will be very fruitful and beneficial for the donor. And our going forth again, ordination, right? Ordination will not be waste, but will be fruitful and going. Okay, there are several parts here. Okay, we need to kind of slow down. We cannot rush when we read the Buddhist text. Just take time to step back and reflect. What is it that the Buddha really mean and want us to understand? Here he said, people call us aesthetic. When they ask you, when you go somewhere, let's say you go back home wearing this saffron robe, and people in your country have never seen monk before. They don't know who you are, why you wearing like this, and they come to you and they ask you, what you are, why you wearing like this, and your answer to them is, I am samana, I am ascetic, or I am a Buddhist monk. Oh, okay. Buddhist monk is the people like you like this. They shave their head, they wear saffron robe, and they eat 2 meals a day, and this is the Buddhist monk. And that's what you just tell them. They ask you what you are, and you tell them, I am an ascetic, I am samana, or I am a monk. And this is the claim, right? That you claim yourself to be samana. But samana is not just an appearance. Anybody can put this on, but it doesn't necessarily mean that person is a monk. There's something deeper than that. So here, the Buddha said, you should train like this. When you say you are a monk, when you say an ascetic, you should train like this. We will undertake and follow the thing that makes one ascetic. So that means that monk need to be trained. He need to train himself first according to what make us ascetic, right? What make us a monk. If we train ourselves according to what the Buddha teach us, then the answer that you give to the people that ask you what you are, I am a monk, right? In order for you to make that claim to be true and to be correct, so they can, whatever they offer to you, whether robes, food, okay, place to stay and medicine, will be worthwhile and beneficial for them as a donor. So that means if you not train yourself well, whatever they offer to you will be a waste and you will be in debt. And that's something, the meaning behind is that whoever ordained and become a monk, that person need to train himself. Train according to the teaching of the Buddha. So if you come to this sentence, this one, we will undertake and follow the thing that make one an ascetic. You have no idea what does it mean. What are the things that make us ascetic? And this is the beauty of study the Buddhist text. So you cannot take it lightly. You have to stop and think, what does it mean, and try to understand it. And if you don't understand it, there is another part of the Buddhist text is called commentary. Commentary is the translation, or you can look at commentary as a handbook of Tripitaka. That means someone have gone through this text before us and they run into similar problem, and then they try to come up with explanation based on their experience. try to explain what the Buddha mean, and that's all of this information kept in the commentary. So commentary is not the Tripitaka itself; it's add on later, explained by the Buddhist scholar in the later generation. This is exactly as appear right in the text that translates from Pali. So there is no explanation what the Buddha means by the thing that makes one an aesthetic. I make your job easier by try to connect the dots for you. Maybe we read one sutra, we may not see the whole picture, and later on, after 3 months, 6 months, continue reading and studying, you start seeing the picture when you look back. Oh, this sutra can connect to that sutra. This is what the Buddha talked about the five aggregate. This is what he talked about the threefold training, and it's appear on another text in more detail. So now you can link them back and connect them together. Here we take a look what are the things that make one an aesthetic. That's the keyword on this particular teaching. So if we following this instruction, what make one an aesthetic, then everything that we receive from the lay people, robe, food, shelter, and medicine will be beneficial and worthwhile for the donor. Otherwise, it's going to be opposite. So two things keep in mind. Samana is a calm person. Okay, you ordain. Okay, you should be calm. Calm mean what? Again, calm not just outside, okay, outlook, okay, look calm, look peaceful, but inside your mind should be calm too. Calm because you feel content of who you are. Calm because you know how to deal with anger, with delusion, with lustful mind. When defilement or craving happening in your mind, you kind of know how to deal with it. Utilize the technique or the wisdom that you learn from the Buddha teaching, and that's then you can remain calm, right? Whether the situation you like or situation that you don't like. And then another thing is that we must follow, when one ordained, we must follow the teaching of the Buddha to continue training ourselves, okay, day by day to be a better person, to be a better monk, body, speech, and mind. Let's keep that in mind. We may not know how to do all of this yet, but that picture have to be kept in mind. Okay, every single day pass by, there shouldn't be any day that we, did not spend time fixing or developing ourselves in a certain area in your life. The moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed. And these are the things that I, grab from another sutra to help you to understand what the Buddha means by the thing that make one's an aesthetic. What kind of thing, what kind of framework that make us an aesthetic? On this particular sutra, the Buddha mentioned, so you should train yourself like this. We will have keen enthusiasm for undertaking the training. Okay, undertaking the training in the higher ethic, the higher mind, and the higher wisdom. And that's how you should train. Okay, again, this is quite short, right? This is quite short. It's not much explanation, but it's a summarize what the Buddha means by what make one an aesthetic. If you remember this picture, okay, we talked about this several times, right? This is a monk, this is a lay people, right? So they develop themselves on this journey. Hopefully one day they can realize Nibbana or the supreme happiness or supreme peace. But along the way, that monk or that lay people, a man or woman, can also be happy. Okay, on a daily basis, if they put the Dhamma into practice properly and correctly, whoever you are. If the monk don't practice the Dhamma, monk may not be happy in monk's life. Lay people don't follow the teaching of the Buddha, don't practice the Dhamma, their life may have more problem, right? Like breaking precept, gambling and drinking and things like that. So here the Buddha give us the framework. Whether you are a lay person or whether you are a Buddhist monk, you should have some framework to help you to live life happy and happier and happiest if you're following this, framework strictly. So start from precept, sila or morality or ethical part. Start to understand precept and start to observe precept. And after you're comfortable with observing precept, avoid killing, avoid stealing, avoid sexual misconduct, avoid lying, and avoid intoxicant. Okay, that start from that 5 universal good deeds or ethical part. And then after you're comfortable with the precept, right? Then the Buddha introduced you know what? You should move on to develop another factor, which is samadhi or concentration. This thing deal with the mind. The first element, sila, deal with body and speech and the manner, how to live together in harmony. Don't harm yourself and don't harm others. And now, after you observe precept, then your mind free from worry, then you can practice meditation much better. So you start developing yourself, okay, find yourself time to meditate after you observe the precept. And eventually that precept and meditation will help to cleanse your mind and calm your mind and purify your mind, so you are ready for something called a higher wisdom, to get to know the nature of life, to understand the law of nature, like things is impermanent, right? Thing it's unsatisfactory, and thing is uncontrollable. So all compounding fall into this category, or we call the three common characteristics of the nature, or the compound thing. And this is the framework for the monk. Okay, to keep in mind, the monk need to observe precept, understand precept. Precept is not something. I don't want you to look at precept as something that forbidden for you to do things. But instead of looking at them as like just like that, you look at precept as the tool that help you to be more mindful, more understanding, more calm, more focused, more considerate. Because monk, we live with a lot of rules, more than 200 rules. So we need to be mindful, because every rule laid down to help us to be, very, very considerate. That means it helps us to have more sati, or mindful of everything we eat. We have to do the chanting before we eat. Everything we use, the clothes that we wear, we need to reflect on it. The medicine, the shelter that we stay, pretty much everything that we use on a daily basis, we must kind of reflect on that, where those things come from, and how much should we use it, why should we use it, and how long can we use it. So keep this, question in mind all the time of everything that you use, that you consume. It helps us to be more mindful. Okay, it's a tool to help us lessen craving in our mind, learn how to appreciate the bed that we stay, the food that we receive 2 meals a day, okay, the time for meditation, the clothes that we wear, we only allow to have only a few pieces of rope, right? So everything that I mentioned, all the things that we use, there are rules that we need to kind of keep in mind, and follow those rules that laid down by the Buddha. Again, this is the Buddha instruction of how a man, when he ordained, he should keep in mind of this framework, and do his best to understand it and to practice it, to follow the concept of sila, or ethic, and meditation, okay, or samadhi, and wisdom. Okay, in this case, the Buddha talked to another group of monks who happened to be maybe smart monk, right? So he used different word, which is higher ethic, higher mind, and higher wisdom, instead of say sila, samadhi, and panya. You see, the teaching of the Buddha is deep, but it's when we track it down, it will come back to this principle, start from precept, meditation, and wisdom. And later on, there is a second layer of the precept, which is called higher precept, or higher ethic. And there is a second layer of meditation, or samadhi, which is higher mind. And there also a second layer, or the third layer of wisdom, which is called higher wisdom. We will get to that later on. So here the Buddha talked to the monk. If someone asks you what you are, you tell them, I am a monk, I am an ascetic. And what are the things that make us ascetic? Oh, that ascetic need to be trained himself. Not just wearing this saffron robe and you can call yourself a monk. You need to train yourself according to this framework, okay, ethic, mind, or meditation, and wisdom. And then if you following this framework, keep on developing yourself day and night, then you deserve what? Deserve the gift that offer from the lay people. Food, shelter, medicines, and rope, whatever it is. And then it will be benefit for the donor, or those who support us. Okay, so they gain more merit, they gain more peace of mind. Okay, and that's something that the new monk, in fact, I would like to say every monk should keep in mind. We follow the same framework, we follow the same teaching of the Buddha, which is to develop precept, to develop meditation, and to develop wisdom. And if anybody can master all of this perfectly, precept, meditation, and wisdom perfectly, that man will become something called arahant. That monk will achieve or realize arahant, where his mind is free from defilement or mental impurity perfectly. And then the Buddha continued of this sutra. And what monks are the quality that make one an ascetic? All right, here the question come. What are the quality that make one an ascetic, or samana, or keep it simple, we call monk, right? We will be endowed with consign. Okay, new vocabulary today. and concern. What is concern and concern? Okay, give me a moment. That is how you should train yourself. Now the thought may occur to you, we are endowed with concern and concern. That much is enough. That much means we are done. So that the goal of aesthetic state has been reached. There is nothing further to be done. Nothing further. Okay, basically you're done with all the training. And you may rest content just that. I mean the Buddha, declare this to you, bhikkhu or monks, you who seek to be true ascetic or true monks, do not lose sight of the goal of the ascetic life while there is still more to do. Okay, more to do. As you following this sutra, as I read it to you, how much you understand? Is there anything confused? Is there anything you need more explanation? This is exactly as appear in the sutra. Not much explanation. This is the beauty or the challenge when someone study the Buddhist text. So here let's step back and take a look one more time, okay, in the slower version. Okay, the first paragraph, someone asks you what you are, right? And you tell them, I am an ascetic. And the Buddha suggests you what kind of thing that ascetic should practice, right? Sila, Samadhi, Panya. And now the Buddha suggests the quality that make one an ascetic. The first quality that make you a good monk or an ascetic. You should be endowed with concern and concern. If you read the text from different translators, they use different vocabulary. Sometimes they use the word shame or fear of wrongdoing. It depends how the translator feel comfortable. But the authentic word, the original sentence come from the Pali. When we check to the Pali, the original word of concern is hiri and Otappa. Concern come from hiri and concern come from Otappa. So if you understand hiri Otappa, then whatever vocabulary that makes sense to you, you stay with that one. In this particular translator, he used the word concern, which kind of confused. Okay, to me, I don't know what it means. But when I check from the Pali, I see the word hiri and Otappa. And then voila, I got it. I understand these two words. Let's say, I will explain hiri Otappa in a moment. In this sutra, the Buddha said, the quality that make one an ascetic start from hiri and Otappa. Start from hiri and Otappa. Okay, the monk understand that, and that's how you should train yourself. That's how you should train yourself. And then the monk may think, oh, okay, the Buddha teach me to practice hiri Otappa. And now I have practiced that. I have practiced that concern and concern hiri Otappa. I already have that cultivate these two qualities in my mind already. No problem, the Buddha, the teacher, I'm done with that. And then the monk may think, well, that should be enough. There shouldn't be anything more. The aesthetic goal have been reached. Okay, there is nothing further for me to practice. The Buddha said, hold on. It's not just that. There are more to do. There are more than that, just hiri Otappa. This is the starting point. This is very important foundation that you must lay down. Hiri Otappa is the starting point of observing precept, of not breaking precept, of go to the classroom, of go to the meditation room, because you have hiri Otappa, of consuming food more or less, of consuming jiwon or robes, and that's called hiri Otappa. So the starting point here of this particular sutra in Mahāssapura Sutta, the Buddha give the first quality as a framework. To me, this first quality is very important. The Buddha mentioned two things, which is hiri and Otappa. Hiri and Otappa is the starting point of pretty much all kind of virtue, because virtue that protect the world is called hiri Otappa. So we stop here a little bit to make sure we understand these two words. Then you can put into practice correctly. Hiri, whatever English vocabulary that makes sense to you. Okay, hiri means shame, moral shame. And Otappa is fear of wrongdoing. That's the idea. That's the meaning from Pali. Hiri means shame, okay? Feel shameful to do bad thing. And Otappa, fear of wrongdoing, fear of the consequence of the bad thing that you're about to do. There is one particular teaching the Buddha mentioned: if one protect oneself, one protect others. And if one protect others, one protect oneself. First, when I come to this sentence, I was not understand until later on, after study more and more and come across several sutra, it start making more sense when we understand the concept of precept, when we understand the idea of hiri and otappa. Why these two virtues can protect the world? Why these two virtues they are so important? That means they must be very important, right? Otherwise, they cannot protect the world. There's so many virtues like loving kindness, compassion. How come these two things not mentioned here? To me, hiri is about individual or yourself, but otappa is about other people in the community, in the society, in the country. Hiri otappa come with the sense of accountability and responsibility. That's the idea of hiri. When someone have hiri or shame, that person will have more accountability and responsibility. Whatever he's supposed to do, he will do it. It's his own responsibility. If you are a father, what makes you a good father? If you are a son, what makes you a good son? You should know your role and you should know how to play your role well. What the father is supposed to do? Father is supposed to be the leader of the family, right? You do business, you make money, you take care of your wife, you take care of your children, you become a good husband. No drinking, no alcohol, no sexual misconduct. Only love your wife and take good care of the family. And that's what the father is supposed to be, a good role model for your family. If you are a son, what is your role? What is your responsibility as a good son, right? Father work hard, mother work hard, you stay home, do nothing, playing games, sleep, eat, travel. Is that a good son? And this is accountability. Everyone must have role and responsibility to play wherever you are. And that's something come with the sense of hiri. Hiri means you are accountability for your own self. Now you become a monk. You should know what monk should do and should not do, and take full responsibility of what you can do, what you cannot do, what you should do, what you should not do. If you don't know, you ask. If you already know, then you just have to do it. That's all. You take responsibility. No one shouldn't have to go find you and wake you up. When the time that you're supposed to wake up, you wake up. You go to the classroom, you go to the meditation room, you do the chatting, you practice meditation. When it's time to eat, you come to eat. So no one have to find you because you know what you're supposed to do and when you're supposed to do and know how to do it. And that's the sense of hiri. If you have hiri, you will not break precept. Listen carefully. If you have hiri, most likely you will not break any precept because you will feel shame, right? Monks supposed to go chanting, then you go. If you don't go, you feel shame of yourself because that's your job, that's your responsibility to go as a good monk. You see, hiri come with that. It help you with that. If you cultivate hiri in every moment in your day, you most likely will be very mindful and you tend not to break any precept at all. So start from hiri. What about otappa? Otappa come in the sense of put yourself in someone's shoes. If you don't show up for cleaning toilet, what the effect or the consequence will be happening? Today is your chore to clean toilet. It's your friend to clean the meditation room, but you don't go clean toilet. You go back to sleep. And that's otappa. You don't actually do your job well, and that's give negative consequence for the group, for the society. Because when your friends come back and use toilet, it's unclean. Why is unclean? Because the monk who's supposed to clean it did not clean it. So now you become a monk. What monk supposed to do? What monk should do? Your job is to do it. So cultivate the sense of feeling shameful by your own self that, I shouldn't be doing this. I should go to the meditation room. I should go to study Dhamma. I shouldn't go back to bed at this moment. This is hiri. And otappa, again, if I go to the classroom now, not only I learn something, but I also help strengthen the learning community to foster the energy of the group. Only 4 months, if 2 of you missing for some reason because you don't want to learn, then the energy of the group drop more than 50%. And as a teacher, when I see, students don't show up, maybe my lecture is not good, maybe they're not ready to learn, maybe instead of teach 100% what I prepare, I may share with you 10% and then we can take a break. So you see, this is the idea of Hiri and Otappa that you can apply in your own life when it comes to the meditation practice, when it comes to observe the precept. Check yourself, am I supposed to do this or not? Okay, if you know you're not supposed to do it, you cultivate the sense of shameful of doing it, then you're not going to do it. By default, you will not break any precept if you cultivate that sense in your mind all the time. So Hiri Otappa, it's not just understand the concept. The Buddha wants us to realize it, wants us to practice it by ourselves. And that's the first quality. And then later on, the text continue of the second, the third, and the fourth quality. The Buddha said, our bodily conduct must be perfectly pure, clean, open, without defect and control. So we cannot overlook any single word that mentioned by the Buddha at all. We have to, again, take time, digest, understand, and try to decode. Then we can master it correctly and properly. Basically, there are three more qualities that add on after Hiri Otappa. The Buddha suggests the monk who call himself a monk or samana or ascetic to cultivate first body, second speech, and the third mind in the same explanation. Conduct in speech must be perfectly pure, clear, open, without defect and control. Conduct in thought must be perfectly pure, clear, open, without defect and control. So there are the three things. They're not the same. But the Buddha did not explain what he means by perfect bodily conduct, perfect speech conduct, and perfect mental conduct. And that's something, it's a challenge when we study the Buddhist text. That's why you need teacher. You need someone who have more experience to guide you, to share with you how to understand each particular sentence that you may have doubt. So what it means by bodily conduct. Bodily conduct must be pure. Pure means clean, right? Clear and open. No secret. That's why we do confession. Sappata apatiyo arojemi, sappata apatiyo arojemi. What we just said is we want to make sure that we tell our friend the wrongdoing that we commit today. Maybe you step on the ant, you didn't pay attention, you lost conscious. So you kind of reflect on that when you do confession to your monk friend to help you to be more mindful for tomorrow. Don't make the same mistake over and over without reflecting on it. So open, no secret between you and your teacher. In this spiritual journey, we shouldn't have any secret with our master or teacher because they are the one who can always support us and guide us for the rest of the journey. So we must develop a certain level of trust for your teacher. And then without defect and control. So bodily must be controlled to be perfect, to be pure, and to be open. Same thing with speech, same thing with the thought or the thinking. And this is a summary, okay, to save you time. So I provide you all information that you need to know. In Buddhism, the Buddha mentioned about what considered good and what considered bad. If you still remember when we studied Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, these things already mentioned there, but you may not pay attention. So you may not realize what the Buddha means by good, what the Buddha means by bad. So today let's recap. Human being, we can commit karma three ways. The first way that we can commit karma is through bodily action. Second, through speech. And the third one, through our thinking. Okay, karma can be good karma can be bad karma, and can also be neutral karma, right? So start from bodily action. If you do three of this, it's considered bad. If you do opposite of three of this, it's considered good. Simple, just like that. Destroying life is bad. Stealing is bad. Sexual misconduct is bad. It's an unwholesome action, or it's a bad bodily karma, bodily action. See, this is very beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. He not just mentioned the concept. Okay, he mentioned clearly what it means by good thing, what it means by bad thing, body, speech, and thinking. Then we can study and we can put into practice, right? And what about speech? Speech, there are four things that consider bad speech, right? Something unwholesome. Start from false speech, telling a lie, right? Slander speech or harsh speech, something rude, something impolite. Divisive speech, speech that break people into two groups, destroy the unity of the group. And then idle chatter, or speak something nonsense, something that not related to the Dhamma practice, is such a waste of time. So these four things are considered unwholesome action through the speech. And the last one, what about thinking? What monk supposed to think? What monk not supposed to think? Covetousness or greed, thinking of having more, thinking of entertainment, thinking of sense pleasure. That's something called considered unwholesome thinking. Thinking of ill will or resentment, anger, this also an unwholesome thinking. You cannot meditate well if you get mad, if you get angry with someone and you cannot forgive, you cannot let go. And the third one is a wrong view. Wrong view. The thinking toward non-violence, okay, loving kindness, okay, compassion, unity, truthfulness, honesty. This kind of thinking that monks should cultivate and toward this direction, to not to be harmful for yourself, not to be harmful for others. Promote peace and happiness for yourself, and promote peace and happiness for people around you. And that's something you should keep in mind when it's come to the karma or the action that good monks should cultivate. Make sure it's wholesome. So bodily action, no kill, no stealing, no sexual misconduct. As a monk, we don't do that, right? This is a 5 precept. Monk, we observe 5 precepts automatically, but we have more rules than that. Whatever lay people do, we don't do. If lay people observe 5 precepts, we observe 5 precepts plus more precepts than the lay people. Avoid killing, avoid stealing, those kind of stuff, but more rules. So bodily action for the monk come with the manner as well, not just something we can do or something we cannot do. And this is called wholesome bodily action in general. Same thing with speech and same thing with thought. I hope you guys see the picture. If you go back to the sutra yourself next time, so keep this picture in mind when you come across bodily action, speech and thought, what consider wholesome and what consider unwholesome. If you can understand this, memorize it, then you can put everything you learn into practice properly. Is that all or anything else? The Buddha said no. Some monks said, oh, I already cultivate hiri, I already cultivate otappa. I have that in my mind firmly day and night, and I also purify my conduct, bodily action, verbally action, and thought already pure, already open, already clean. Is that all, or I have reached my aesthetic or the monk's goal already? The Buddha said no. There are something more than that. You see, the Buddha is very kind and compassion and loving kindness. When he trained the monks, he helped him train one step at a time until he get confident. He will not force student to go all the way through by himself. So he will be standing by and support each monk, make sure the monk understand and practice correctly and guide him for the next step. So when you come to the teacher, that means you must be ready for the next step. If you're not ready, then you go back and master that until you're confident. Whatever the first lesson, the second lesson that you learn from your teacher, then come back to him with an advanced teaching to move on to the next step. This is the next quality that good monk should cultivate. Pure in livelihood. How a monk should live his life. Our life rely on the lay people, right? We get up in the morning, we don't cook our own food, we grab the bowl and we go to the village and people give us food. This is how we make a living. We don't earn any money, we don't pay the bill, someone pay for us. So there must be a way that consider right livelihood as a Buddhist monk. For the lay people, right livelihood means the livelihood that doesn't create problem for himself and for the society. The career that doesn't break the law. Sometimes the law is not breaking the law, but it's breaking the law of morality. For example, if a man open up the restaurant and his restaurant also sell alcohol. Selling alcohol is legal, but it's unethical. Okay, you can make a lot of money by selling alcohol, but it's give a negative consequence back to the society. When a man get drunk, drive home, he may get accident, or when he get to home, he may have a fight with his wife and family, and a lot of problem come out of alcohol consuming. Make sure that as a lay person, you consider both whether it's legal and whether it's ethical or not. If it's legal and it's ethical, then perfect. What about monks? How do monks live our life? And what's considered right livelihood? And that's something new monks should pay attention. So what considered right livelihood for a good monk? Let's take a look what mentioned in the text. These are the things that I list to share with you. And this is something that mentioned. Another sutra is called Ganakamoggallana Sutta. What is considered wrong living? Let's take a look at some of them. The first one, making prediction, prophesying and predicting. Is this your job as a monk? To predict what's going to happen in the future for the lay people. Okay? Interpreting the significance of art, object and animal. In Thailand, there are many cases like this. Sometimes the newborn baby cow born with like 4 horns, So, or the banana tree show up with look like a ghost body or different weird form looking, something like that. So people feel like if something like this happen in the society, people usually believe that means something. So this kind of thing that happen, people usually believe there's some meaning, and they usually seek advice from the monk. And if you give interpretation, you give prediction. Oh, if you see this kind of animal, like the white snake or the extremely white elephant, okay, this could be bring fortune to the country, or it could be bring bad luck to the community, or something like this. This is not your job. This is something that you're not supposed to do. So prediction on people body, hand, feet, okay, give prediction. If you have good looking body, complexion look good, and newborn baby will be born rich in the future, become millionaire, become successful politician and things like that. Basically, give prediction is not something that monks supposed to do. Okay, telling fortune, okay, from the mark on the body. Okay, interpreting dreams. When you have a bad dream, you go to the temple. That's what many Buddhist people do. When they're not feeling good, for some reason they go talk to the monk, and the monk may give some blessing and give some prediction, and then make people feel better. But it's not our duty. For telling the number of years that how long a man can live, there will be an earthquake, there will be eclipse on the moon, the sun, or things like that. This is not the monk's duty. What about this? Arrange the marriage. Tell people what date is good for getting married. Is it our job or it's not? Auspicious date, engagement or divorce. For someone to get engaged or for someone to get divorced, they seek advice from the monk to find date, the good date for divorcing. Do we have that day? Good date for divorcing? Or good date for getting married? How do we know what day is a good for divorce? Right? Arranging auspicious date for accumulating or expenditure of money. Okay, you should open your restaurant today. If you open today at 9:09 o'clock, your restaurant will be in good business. You will have a lot of customers. There is no such thing in Buddhism. It's not Buddhism. It's not the teaching of the Buddha at all. It may be something else. Okay, some other belief, some other religion, but not Buddhism. Reciting the charm or making people lucky or unlucky. So go from people's house, give them the blessing, and give them prediction that by listening to this blessing, then your business will be prosper. Your family life will be better. Your husband and wife will love each other more and more. There is no such thing according to the teaching of the Buddha. Somehow, many Buddhists still following this. Many monks come to me and ask me for the date and time that good for disrobing. I said, no, I don't have that. There's no such thing for 9:09 is good for disrobing. Or it has to be 10:10, okay, to get ordained. Ordination is ordination. Whether you are ordained, become good monk or not, it had nothing to do with timing. It had nothing to do with timing whatsoever. It's about yourself. If you ordain 10:10, but you don't observe precept, you still being a lazy monk, what's the matter of you ordaining at 10:10? So the best time is the convenient time. You don't have to ask the monks. You know what convenient for you. If you go ask the monk, what time should I open up my restaurant? If the monk said 3 a.m. in the morning, you should invite the monk to go bless your restaurant at 3 a.m. in the morning. And because of that time is the best timing at 3 a.m. in the morning, right? If I said, oh, tomorrow I want to teach Dhamma at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's not convenient for all of us. That is not a good time. So good timing means it's convenient for all of us. When the time is right for the monk, its time is right for you, and that time is the best. Nothing to do with Saturday, nothing to do with Monday, nothing to do with the moon, nothing to do with the sun. That's not what the Buddha teach. Somehow, Buddhist people, we incorporate this thought and expectation from some other belief and religions. We get influenced, but not from the Buddha, not from the Buddhist teaching. But again, none of this is the monk's job. It's nothing to do with us. So let the lay people handle this, not you. And another quality that the Buddha suggests, we're not done yet. Okay, today, like I said, today and tomorrow lecture, I will give you a full explanation for you to see the broadest picture of how the Buddha wants you to be trained and how you should train yourself. So by listening to these two lectures, you have full understanding. Well, if you like, there are some other sutra that I can mention you to study further. But these two lectures, for me, I think it should be enough for you as a new monk to understand and give you enough material to study already. The other thing is called sense restraint, restraint of the sense or sense control, right? The control of sense. The control of sense, what does it mean? Sense means sense-based, sense-based. What come to your eye, what come to your ear, what come to your tongue, what come to your physical touch, and what come to your nose, what come to your mind. It's called the six sense-based. These are the door that allow information from the outside world come to the inner world. Okay, come to your eyes and go to your mind. The sound come to your ear and go to your mind. The smell come to your nose and go to your mind. Okay, so these are the sense-based. The sense-based is something that the Buddha suggests monks to protect, to be mindful of those information that come to this sense door, because when they enter your physical sense door, okay, it's come with craving. It's where the defilement can start taking control of your mind. All right, so let's take a look at the text. Restraint of sense, what does it mean? Okay, let's take a look at what does it mean, explained by the Buddha himself first. A monk who see an object with the eyes should not hold on to its feature or detail, because an unwholesome state, such as covetousness or greed and grief, will overwhelm the monks who lack restraint the eye faculty. So the Buddha starts from the eye, but it can apply to the rest, okay, to the eyes, to the ear, to the nose, to the tongue, to the body, and to the mind. But start from the eye first. If you understand how the mind works, and then you understand how the rest work. A monk who see an object with the eye should not what? Should not hold on to it. It what? Its feature or detail, because an unwholesome state can overwhelm, basically can attack you. It can attack you if you hold on to the feature of something you see. Let's take a look at this. Let's say you go arms round in the morning. You a new monk, you just ordained, you just came from a lay life, from a man to become a monk. So you went arms round. Now you notice, wow, there are a group of good-looking, beautiful ladies offering alms this morning. You try to control your eye not to look at their face. However, you see their hands. Hand is white, hand is beautiful. The smell that comes to your nose, the sound of her voice, everything looks so pleasing. You may not see her as a whole from the top to the feet, but somehow you sense something from what you smell, from what you hear, from what you see when she put rice into your bowl. This is how the craving or tanha can get into your mind. By allow the sound of beautiful sound come to your ear, the laughing noise of the woman, the smell of her perfume, the beauty of her rings, something on her hands. These are the things that the Buddha is trying to give a warning to the new monks to be very careful, to protect your sense door well. These are the door that the enemy or the craving can come to your mind, and when it's come to your mind, it stays there, it creates feeling. We have feeling toward what we receive, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, and most likely we like it. We like to hear the voice of women, we like to smell, we like to see them. And if the new monk have that kind of mind or attitude, okay, the monk cannot meditate well. You cannot meditate well. So this warning the Buddha gives to the new monks to be very careful, very, very careful, because an unwholesome state, just like lustful mind can happening easily. Our mind is still full of mental impurity, so don't be careless. So we must be very careful of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. When the unwholesome states start take control your mind, it's hard to let go. It's very hard to let go. When you go back to meditate that morning after you went arms round and see those women, now it's hard for you to kind of calm the mind down. You still hearing the voice, you still remember some of their feature, okay, the eyes, the fingers, maybe the clothes that they wear and things like that. And this is what the Buddha mean by features and detail. Same thing with the rest, okay, with ear, with nose, with tongue, with body, with mind. It's similar idea. So you must be very careful. The Buddha mentioned 6 sphere of sense contact. 6 sphere of sense contact, which is eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. If a monk do not train well, observe well, and guard well, will bring great suffering to that monk. It will. But oppositely, if the monk guard well, guard what? Guard this thing well, it will bring great benefit and happiness to the monk. Don't overlook this simple sentence taught by the Buddha. Oh, I understand, I should protect my eye, I shouldn't be thinking of this, thinking of that. I understand. But understanding is one thing, but being able to do it or protect it, that's another thing. It needs practice. So you cannot be careless. Why? Because your mind, my mind, everyone's mind, all the monks' mind, we are not arahant yet. Our mind is still full with mental impurity. That means we are having the virus in our mind, a lot of them in our mind. So if we open up the door for the enemy to come in, then we are in trouble. Okay? If you guard them well, you will be protected and safe. You'll be happy. You can go back, meditate, no problem. So the tip is, when you see, you just see, you don't think. When you hear, you just hear, you don't think. When you smell, you just smell, you don't think. When you touch, you just touch, you don't think. When you allow yourself to think according to what you see, you smell, you taste, then cravings start coming to your mind, and then it's hard to let go. It will keep bothering you all day long. So if you don't guard them well, you allow the thief or the enemy to come to your mind. Okay, if you guard them well, then they cannot enter your mind. So you can think of the bandage. If your hand has a wound, you need to put the bandage on, right? The bandage is like sati. The tool that available for us is sati. Sati, when you see something, put the bandage on your eye, which is you put sati into your eye. Okay. Am I supposed to look at that, or should I look something else? Am I supposed to continue hearing that sound, or am I just ignore it? So if your sati stay with you, then you should be okay. Because you know that you already put the bandage on the wound, on your eyes, on your ear, on your taste, on your tongue, then you should be okay. But if you don't have sati, then those enemies can come into your body, to your eye, your ear, your nose, your tongue, to this sense door. Does it make sense? So you have wound, you should not leave your wound open, because if you leave your wound open, then the infection can happen. Germs, virus, bacteria will come to your body. Same thing. Make sure you put sati on. Make sure you cultivate sati, which is another quality that the Buddha mentioned in this particular sutra as well. This is the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. He laid out step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all the way, and help the monk to master one step at a time. And this is the sutra that I found related. It's very helpful when we talk about sense control. There was a monk named Tissa. Interesting monk. Okay, he's a senior monk. One day he went arms round in the morning, okay, into the village, and there was a husband and wife, a couple. They had a big fight in the morning, and the wife ran away from home. She ran away from her husband, and she ran past by the monk. Monk Tissa was standing there, go arms round. He's standing there. He saw the woman run past by, and then later on, the husband came after his wife, and he stopped and asked the monk, "Have you seen a woman pass by?" Tissa, his meditation practice, he reflect on the crops, on the body decay, on kesa loma na kha thanta tacho thanta na kha loma kesa, on the loathsomeness or the ugliness of the body, and that is the meditation technique of Monk Tissa. When he saw the woman pass by, he bring back his meditation object to reflect on loathsomeness of the body, and this is his answer to the husband. The husband said, "Venerable sir, did you see a woman walk by?" And monk Tissa said, "Whether it was a man or a woman that went by, I noticed not." I don't know. I don't know whether a man or a woman. But the only thing I noticed that there goes a group of bones. Just a bone. I don't know whether a man or woman. Because he did not pay attention to the feature of the woman that passed by, whether she is pretty, long hair, black hair, what kind of color of her clothes, how tall, how short. Monk Tissa he did not pay attention to that feature, that detail. But he noticed that the woman was crying and he saw her teeth. When he saw her teeth, he reflect on the loathsomeness of the body. He reflect on Kesa, Loma, Nakha, Thanta, Tacho. And right then, he attained arahantship. His mind is free from defilement. You see? You see the powerful of utilize the meditation technique that fit your personality. In this case, this is work for Monk Tissa, to control your sense door. If you control your sense door, you will advance in your meditation practice much faster. Okay, so let's finish with this, moderate in eating. We will continue tomorrow. So give me a couple more minutes. This is the last quality. Moderation in eating. This is the next step. After you're comfortable with Hiri Otappa, right? You're comfortable with pure conduct of body, of speech, of mind, right? And then you also have the right livelihood as a good monk, and then control your sense door. And this is the next quality that the Buddha suggests monk to practice in order for you to claim yourself as a good ascetic or a good samana or a good monk. And this is called moderation in eating. When it comes to moderation in eating, I like you to think of two things. The first thing is how you acquire it and how you consume it. Okay, not just when we eat, but how did we get that food? Okay, moderation starts from before we even receive the food. When you go alms round, right? You reflect on that. I'm going alms round because my body needs food to survive. So I'm gonna get up early, do the chanting, meditation, and I'm gonna go alms round to give opportunity for people to make merit. At the same time, I get food so I can survive and continue my practice. And that's the attitude of acquiring. So you have to be moderate in getting food. How many house that you will be going? How many food that you need? Do you need to go to 5 villages to get food? Probably not, right? You go a few house or 1 village should be enough. Or at lunch, okay, where lunch come from? Maybe it come from the restaurant. Maybe someone will offer today. Maybe the lay people stop by and offering food. Or maybe you place an order yourself. You don't appreciate what food that people bring. You place an order. Nowadays it's easy, right? We can order food online, order food from your phone, and then place an order. Then the food come. So there are many ways of looking at this. But anyway, the bottom line is you must be moderate of acquiring the food. Not too much, not too less, not too. I don't know. It has to be proper as a monk, right? Monk is the life that's supported by the lay people. So we don't demand for food. We don't make a phone call to people and can you bring that? Can you bring this to me? I like to eat that. I like to eat this. That's not the monk way of living life. Okay, and then after you have that food, moderation in consuming too. 2 dimensions: moderation in acquiring and moderation in consuming. To save our time, when we talk about moderation in eating, I'd like you to think of something else, together. What about clothes, your jiwon, your shelter, okay, and medicine? All of these 4 necessities, this is something we need, right? We need clothes, we need food, we need shelter, we need medicine. What it means by moderation in clothing, moderation in shelter, moderation in medicine. So you can apply the same thing when we learn about moderation in eating. Moderation in acquiring them, moderation in consuming them. So here is what it said in the text. We will not eat too much. We will only eat after reflecting properly on our food. So we must reflect on the food, on the clothes, on the shelter, on the medicine. Everything that we use, we must reflect properly. We will eat not for fun, just like the kid, eat and go play. not for pleasure, because the food is very tasty, it tastes so good. I'm gonna only eat this one. I'm not gonna eat something else because this one tastes better. For adornment, okay, like this guy, to make muscle, eat to gain weight, to gain muscle, or eat for beautify the body, like a woman. You eat tomato, to make sure that you have a bright, radiant skin, looking something like that. So only select a certain kind of thing to beautify your body, and that's not the purpose of eating at all. But only for what? For sustain this body, to avoid harm, okay, avoid illness, to maintain the physical strength, to support spiritual practice. In this way, we shall put an end to the old discomfort and not giving rise to the new discomfort, because we get hungry every 6 hours. The reason we eat, we make sure we want to heal that hungry by not overeating and give us another discomfort feeling after eating meals. And we will live blamelessly and at ease. If we practice all of this, we can practice the Dhamma and meditation much better, because you have good health. When you have good health, you can do anything. In this case, as a Buddhist monk, we have two main duties, right? First, study the Dhamma, and second, we meditate. So in order for you to study the Dhamma well and meditate well, you must make sure you have enough food. You know what to eat, you know when to eat, you know how much to eat. Moderate in eating and moderate in acquiring them. And when should we stop eating? The Buddha gives us advice as well. 4, 5 more spoonful. If you believe that if you take 5 more of them, you will be full. That means you already full. Then stop. If you drink water, it will be perfectly full. Okay? Otherwise, if you take 4, 5 more, you will overfull yourself. You will overeating yourself, and it gives you discomfort when you go back and meditate or study Dhamma. Okay, this is the last slide for today. Contemplation of these 4 requisites: food, clothes, shelter, and medicine, and item in your life. You reflect before acquiring them. Do you need it, or you just want it? There's a big difference between need and want. Everything you put into the body, whether water or Coca-Cola or coffee or tea, do you know why you drink it? Do you know how they affect your body? If you eat Coca-Cola, or you eat Pepsi, or you eat coffee or water, that means you need to reflect on it deeply. Okay, is this glass of drink will give me a good health? Usually we don't think, we just drink because it tastes good. We addicted to the taste. We don't care about whether it's beneficial for the body or not. But the Buddha teaches us to reflect deeper. Okay, what you input into the body, it affects the body in the long run. What you input into your mind or into your thinking, it also affects your mental quality in the long run as well. If you like to collect the garbage, when people say something bad, you keep it. When you see people do something bad, you don't like it, you keep it. You keep on making judgment, you keep on criticize people, you keep on collecting those garbage in your mind, then you cannot meditate well. Instead of doing that, you learn how to let go, learn how to understand. Okay, I'm here to meditate. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to criticize anybody. Before acquiring, and the second time for you to contemplate is at the time that you're obtaining. Okay, you receive the food with a pure mind. You appreciate what people offer, whether food from the poor villager, or someone may have good food in the village, from rich family, from poor family. Your mind is the same loving kindness, same compassion, no discriminating thought. And during the time of consuming, so we do the chanting right before we eat. Yatha patayang pawatamanang thatu matame vetang yatitang pinda pato. And that's what we chant, and that's what it means here. But you don't know the meaning, and now you know. Next time you chant, you reflect on it. Why do you eat this food? Where the food come from? What benefit of you eating that food? What benefit of someone offering that food to you? So reflect on everything that you consume. And the last one, on timely occasion, from time to time we reflect on who we are. We should stop demanding for food, for clothes, for something better than this. We should learn how to feel content. This is who we are. This is the monk's life, the simple life, the life that relies fully on the support of the lay people. So stop demanding, learn how to appreciate what we have, learn how to feel content, and get back to the Dhamma study and practice meditation. For the rest, we have nothing to be worried about. Tomorrow there will be food for us for sure, at 7:30 for breakfast, and there will be lunch at 11:30 for breakfast. No matter hot, no matter rain, no matter snow or not, there will be food for us because the lay people will support us, and they want to free our time to practice meditation and study the Dhamma. And that's your job for now. So you don't have to worry about all of those necessity. So I hope you see some picture today. Okay, just to recap, in this Mahāssapura Sutta, the Buddha teach the monk at Asapura town. If someone asks you what you are, you tell them you are monk. And now the Buddha suggests you to know what consider a good monk. What are the things that monk supposed to be practicing from day one you ordain until the day that you realize Nibbana. Okay, start from Hiri Otappa. Cultivate the moral shame. You don't want to do anything bad because you feel shameful for yourself. Take accountability, take responsibility to be a good monk by yourself. And Otappa, create the sense of fear of wrongdoing. If you do something like this, it not only affect you, but it affect your monk's friend. It affect the whole community. It affect the whole Buddhism or Buddhist people. Cultivate Hiri Otappa and then move on to bodily action, verbally action, and thinking. Make sure it's clean, make sure it's pure, make sure it's open, do confession, no secret between you and your mentor and the teaching monk, and then move on to livelihood, right? Okay, stop demanding, stop being a tricky person, being an open person, being a modest person, being a content person. After you have the pure livelihood, then we cultivate the sense control of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, because that's where the craving or the tanha can take control your mind, right? And the last one for today, the sutra is not end here, okay? We will continue next Saturday. And the last one the Buddha mentioned in this first half is about moderation in consuming necessity, food, clothes, housing or lodging or shelter, and then medicine and many items that you need to have as a monk to carry on your training, including like notebooks, pen, your flashlight, your shoes, your hat, your sock. Everything come from donation, come from the donor. Someone donate for us. They want to support us. So that's why we may not realize Nibbana today, but as we continue to train ourselves, we still consider being a good merit field for the lay people. So don't stop practicing, don't stop developing yourself, don't get discouraged. I know there's a lot of things that you don't know, there are a lot of things that need to be practiced, but together in this environment we can support each other, we can help each other to carry on the training. And if you have doubt, again, feel free to ask the question and ask the teaching monk or ask Luang Pi anytime. So with that, I'm done for today. We meet again next Saturday, continue the second part. So I don't